Welcome to Soulfield Sunday. So happy to be here with all of you. I just get so giddy and cheery as I start seeing you pop in, and we're so blessed to get to be together in this way live, and also so blessed to get to be together in the Eternal Now via recording. So we're so glad that you're here in whatever form you're here. And we'll begin. We'll light a candle. Those of you who are old hat at Soulfield, you know we light a red candle by way of really claiming sacred divine space. The red candle is a purifier and it's a connection to the sacred fire. And so we're creating a sacred circle as we prepare and as we begin to enter the soul field together. And as you come in, just take a moment. Take a moment to land, take a moment to settle. Feel your breath. Let the gaze be internal and toward your heart. And then internal and toward the low belly. Making contact with yourself first. And feeling connection to the earth, to this sacred land that we're so blessed to dance and play upon. Feel each breath a deepening into connection with self and earth. And feel this sacred space that we inhabit together. And as you're feeling that and opening to that, we'll speak our opening prayer. We come with grateful, reverent, and open hearts to drink from the deep well of our eternal nature. As we dive into the soul field together, we are held within a sacred and holy embrace by the source of all love, light, and grace. In this eternal now, we actively invoke our unique pathways to source and the beings of love light that support our divine evolving. We allow our mind, body, spirit to expand into the holy realms where magic and miracles are commonplace. As we minister to ourselves, we minister to one another and our family humanity. We recognize we are one in the holy wholeness. We allow all we do here today to ripple out through our lives as a living witness of divine grace for the benefit of all our relations. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're continuing today our series on sublimated mind, filament-first thinking. And today we're going to take a dive into sacred perception. And we'll get into that a little bit more, what we mean by that and how we enter into a field of sacred perception. But we'll prepare ourselves to receive the transmission and to really open to the energies that the soul field has for us around this by speaking our affirmations. Today we have Tita as our sacred temple tender. So as I speak the affirmation, she'll call in response with you all. We invite you to tap on the thymus or to use the ear rub as a way of really getting the affirmation into the body. Today, as I was preparing for Soulfield, I was just listening to the affirmations. I didn't even speak them. And I really took them in as the medicine, the reminder of the frequency that originally came through in this series. And it sort of opened up the energy. So I invite you, as I'm speaking it, to really be in the deep sacred listening. Let those energies be affirmed. And then as you speak it, it comes into your body. I'm just going to share the screen with the affirmations. I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign sacred connection.
I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign, sacred connection.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign sacred connection may purify my thought field.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign, sacred connection may purify my thought field.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
I choose moment by moment to lead with soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
I choose moment by moment to lead with soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign sacred connection.
I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign, sacred connection.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign sacred connection may purify my thought field.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign, sacred connection may purify my thought field.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
I choose moment by moment to lead with soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
I choose moment by moment to lead my soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign sacred connection.
I actively release any mental programming that distorts the wisdom flowing through my sovereign, sacred connection.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign sacred connection may purify my thought field.
I place my mind in the divine embrace so my sovereign, sacred connection may purify my thought field.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
In service to my unfolding soul, I give my mind the job of sacred receptivity.
I choose moment by moment to lead with soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
I choose moment by moment to lead with soul and activate the divinity of my brain for the benefit of all.
Can you feel the sacred stillness coming in? I invite you to rest there. Let the stillness be medicine. Let the mind be clear and relaxed. Last session, we worked with embracing the void, embracing the place where we allow the mind to be quiet and still and more in the place of receptivity than in the place of generating and sort of churning. And this place of entering into embracing that void space, entering into what we might call the sacred mystery, is part of a prerequisite. It's part of what we have to do in order to really activate sacred perception. So let's talk for a minute about what I mean by sacred perception, and then we'll speak about how do we do that? How do we start to do that? So to speak about sacred perception, we'll start by speaking a little bit about cultural perception or programmed perception. So we are quite literally taught from the time we're little, this is good behavior. This is less than desirable behavior. This is how you're meant to be. Isn't this flower beautiful? It's in bloom. Look at that weed. Let's pull it. It's yucky. We're taught to perceive the world through a lens that is, perhaps part of the lens of our ancestors, perhaps wisdom about like this thing in the garden, the thing we might call weed, can actually get in the way of the food that's growing that we need to eat. So that becomes bad. There's a way in which these ways that we're trained into kind of a dichotomous way of perceiving um, probably have roots that are beneficial. It's not to bring that up is not to say that our cultural perception or our programmed perception is problematic. It allows us to make choices very, very usefully. Like, for example, seeing what the weather's going to be and deciding that it's going to be hot and then choosing our clothes based upon that perception is beneficial. So there's a time and there's a place for these things. And let's take that example. Let's say if, like me, you're someone who doesn't love the heat, and then you perceive that it's going to be hot based upon what the information you've taken in. And then you start to have stories that you tell about that, about how you're going to be miserable, or you can't do X, Y, or Z, or you have to do A, B, or C. And you sort of, before you know it, there's like a whole chain going down the road, and you're perceiving through the lens of not good, right? That would be for me. Like I go, heat, not good. Now, there's exceptions to that, of course, but that's kind of a general story that I run. And so when we run those general stories, then they'd link to other things. And pretty soon, we're not actually perceiving the moment as it is, which I'm perfectly fine and cool in this moment. It's not actually hot. It's beautiful outside. I feel good. It's great. We are off to the races in our mind somewhere else. We're not in the present moment. When we have these perceptions that are trained in us, it takes us out of curiosity. It takes us out of, as I was just describing, the present moment. And it takes us out of divine discerning and sacred relating because we're perceiving already. We've decided already about a thing. And again, very good that we can do that. This is part of the beauty of our brain is that it's decided things. We all have like preferences, ways we would like things to go and not go, what constitutes in quotes a good day, what constitutes a hard day, like that. And it's just part of what our brain does. And it's helpful that our brain categorizes in certain ways. But when we're relying on that, and what I want to really say is over relying on that, takes us out of sacred perception about whatever's happening in our world. I'm going to use a very proximal example today. This morning, as I was kind of in just morning stuff, one of the things that was happening for me, we have company coming, we're about to take a big trip, we have some big chores that we're trying to take care of. We sort of borrowed a power washer from someone, and so there's a big job ahead of us today. I'm in the middle of spray painting stuff. There's just like stuff going on, and company arrives tomorrow, like that. And I found myself, because there's a lot and it's full, getting overwhelmed and even starting to feel grouchy. And when I stopped, which I did on purpose, and came into breath and presence, I realized that I was perceiving all the jobs through the lens of hard, overworked, too many things to accomplish. And it might be helpful to see that I might have put too many things on my calendar. Okay, yeah. But what I was missing was, oh, it makes me cry. I have a day of preparation for family to come be with me. I get to labor with my beloved. He and I are going to work together. I have a beloved that I get to labor with. It's a beautiful day. We're going to get all wet. In fact, if you could see, I have my swim trunks on underneath here. I've got my, I get to get wet in the sunshine, right? There's so much beauty that I could perceive. There's joy and delight and play and love that I could perceive, that I could tell myself a story about. But instead, I was telling myself a story about stress and strain and too much and difficult and hard. And I was getting pissy. It happens when we tell ourselves those stories. And what shifted was where I was looking from. Was I looking from the eyes of grace, the eyes of beauty, the eyes of love, the eyes that are trying to catch the magic of life? Was I sitting in my sacred perception? Or was I looking through the eyes of a cultural orientation of difficulty and tasks and accomplishment and perfection, like companies coming, everything has to be perfect, whatever that is, right? So there's this way in which the seat of our perception, oftentimes, if it's sitting in our programmed mind, if it's sitting in our cultural mind, it will perceive through the stories we have about whatever is there in front of us. And it's not to say I lost sight of all of those other things completely. It's just that I was taking my perception and giving it over to my cultural mind. And I wasn't consciously choosing where I wanted to perceive from. And that's what is here. When we're talking about sublimated mind, purifying the mind through soul, we catch ourselves and then we choose soul. We choose it. And then we sit down inside of it. We sit down inside of the sacred. And we let that permeate. We let that be the loudest thing, the thing that we give permission to. Without consciously choosing, we're giving permission to the stories that we run in the cultural and programmed mind. We have a sovereign sacred connection. And from that place, we can choose where we give our attention, where we perceive from. And this is a form of purifying the mind. To catch ourselves in the stories of perception that may not even be as sort of extreme as what I was describing today. They could be very subtle. Just the idea that we know who a person is. I know who that person is. I know them well. And so we approach them in a conversation with them with the perception already decided of who they are and how they will show up. We do this way in the background, in the very subtle places. And what happens if we come fresh, if we really choose to not codify so strongly, and we engage with life through the eyes of a child, through the eyes of a learner, through the mind of a beginner, and we come to each experience with these kind of curious questions. And I'm going to put them in the chat. I'm going to just copy them and put them in the chat real quick because I want you all to have these. Let's see. So we can ask these questions like, how would love see this? How else can I understand this? Is there another perspective? What is the holy truth that runs here? Because we know there's holy truth happening always, all the time, in everything. Am I attached? Like, am I, maybe that could say or should say, over attached? Have I like just decided I need this to be a certain way? And so I'm not willing to let flow happen. And then I'm perceiving the things that happen as wrong things rather than spirit going, hey, love, look over here. Wait, don't go right, go left. It's better over there. Right. I have a story. Oh, the last question I'll just say is, am I running a story? We have this funny little thing that has developed in our texting culture. Some people know these little acronyms, but SOML, story of my life. Everybody know that? Little we have this. We have these like, oh, that's the story of my life. If you have those places, that's the story of my life. You can guarantee you're running on programming there, and you can guarantee you're perceiving the world through that lens. You're perceiving someone or something or some event through that lens, and you are making that story so. And so sublimated mind, it's like catch it. If you've got the story of my life, like if that's the story that runs, you like, oh, here it is again. Here's that thing again. Like that's all you. That's your perceiving. It doesn't mean that nothing is real out there, but you are running a program. Your mind is programmed. And this is where it's needing purification. This is where you lean into the tools that are coming through in this series for you, both the tapping and the meditation. And we're gonna lean into that more today. We're gonna spend more time there than we have the last couple of times. This thing about like if something doesn't go the way we want, I want to tell a kind of a cool story. I had been looking for maybe 6 months, this is a few years old story. Some people have heard this, for a new sofa for my client office. And I wanted it to be a recliner and it's a small space. So, and I wanted it to be comfortable for two people for when I'm working with a couple. And I wanted it to recline so I could do hands-on work and people could put their feet up and be comfortable like that. Finally found the one, had it delivered. And in order to have it delivered, you have to move all the old furniture out. We'd done that. We were getting ready to like sell it. It wasn't really usable at that point. And they came and they dropped it. And when they dropped it, they ripped the leather on the sofa. And I they gave me two options. One was to get a new one or to keep the one I had. And I stopped because I really understood like there's something sacred going on here. So I asked the question of soul, like, do I keep this one? Because the scratch is on the back and nobody will ever see it. Or do I return it and get a new one, which was going to be, from my perception, a big hassle. So like I would have been like, A, I don't like that this happened. I would have been grumpy and I would have kept it. But I kept hearing, no, send it back. So I told them, I want to send it back. And they were like, well, we can't take it back today because we've already unwrapped it. And but we'll set up a delivery, whatever. So then I get on the phone with the people that I have to talk to. And the woman goes through everything. We set up the new, and I'm like, when do they come take the old? And she goes, well, I don't know if we can do that. And I how and then all of a sudden she goes, wait a minute. It says right here, uh, no need to return old sofa. So pretty soon I was going to have two of these. Now, what's hilarious is literally 2 days before, my husband said to me, I'd really like to have a sofa just like this in our bedroom. So guess what? We had two sofas for the price of one. And the sofa that my husband wanted in the bedroom is in the bedroom, and the one that I wanted for the clients is in the client office. Now, I could have gotten really spun out I could have forgotten something holy is trying to happen here. I don't, not to say I wasn't disappointed. I had emotions. I'm not saying I didn't have emotions. I'm not saying I'm like, this perfect angelic being who has no emotions. I had emotions, but I knew something sacred was trying to happen. And I asked the question. And then I let go of my attachments and I let it unfold. And what unfolded is I got two for the price of one. How lovely is that? The perception that I had, the choice that I made, I truly believed, allowed the sacred blessing to come into my life. If I didn't know something sacred was happening, if I didn't choose to perceive through that lens and then allow it to unfold, to be in the void of the not knowing, like, how's this going to get settled, so to speak? And this is very mundane. We're talking about sofas, right? But it's like this with all of our life. We choose our sacred perception, or we choose to run a programmed story. And sometimes the programmed story is just fine, but often it's limiting our experience of using our brain the way we were designed to use it, which is by plugging first into the holiness that we are connected to and asking, how do I make that happen? How do I see through the eyes of love? How do I see through the eyes divine? My life, my experience, this person, etc. And we can let that be our prayer. Show me how to see through eyes of grace. Show me how to live my life seeing love, activating the holy truth by the way I perceive the world around me. Because when we do that, we begin to live an enchanted life. And we begin to call forward the sacred in all things because we are remembering and perceiving through that lens. I'm going to pause our recording. Coming back after some rich sharing, and um, I'll sort of end with a little summary. We were naming these different places, different people were experiencing, and there was a beautiful share about the recognition that when our mind runs all these different stories that are attached to other stories and whatever, it actually becomes sick in a certain way, or ill, unhealthy, unwell. It does. And this is part of why we're really focusing this series on sublimated mind. It's actually part of what I've come to understand through my experience with brain injury, which is that the soul operating the mind is a very different thing than the programming operating the mind. And when the soul operates the mind, we literally enter into the quantum space. It's a magical space. And we don't do that often enough, or as much as is healthy for us. We are trained in a prescriptive mind. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 6. We learn our times tables. We learn how to put words together. Good things to know, but it's also part of the meta of that, or the messaging that comes with that, is that there is a way, there is a right, there is a wrong, and that's actually not really the full scope of what we have access to here. We're going to work on together right now a process to sort of begin to let go of our attachment to the stories and then to drop into the meditation to really purify the mind. And this whole series, we're going to be following the same pathway where we do some tapping and then we do some meditating right after that. So I'm going to invite you to have your legs uncrossed, or they can be double crossed in Yoga Mudra. Um, have a little drink of water if you need it. Make sure you're really well hydrated. We're going to ask the body to move some energy. We're going to begin tapping on the side of hand, and you'll just follow along with me. And you will speak, and Tita will be with you. I'll sort of say, and then you say, um, even though I have all these stories of my life,
Even though I have all these stories of my life,
and I think I need to stay with them to be me,
and I think I need to stay with them to be me.
I completely and totally love and accept myself.
I completely and totally love and accept myself,
Even though I have all these stories of my life,
even though I have all these stories of my life.
and I think I need to stay with them to be me.
And I think I need to stay with them to be me.
I completely and totally love and accept myself.
Completely and totally love and accept myself,
Even though I have all these stories of my life,
even though I have all these stories of my life.
and I think I need to stay with them to be me.
And I think I need to stay with them to be me.
I completely and totally love and accept myself.
I completely and totally love and accept myself.
At the eyebrow where it begins by the bridge of the nose, all these stories,
All these stories.
so many stories,
So many stories.
some of them conscious,
Some are conscious.
some are deep in my subconscious.
Some are deep in my subconscious.
Outer eye, all the ways these stories run my life.
All the way these stories run my life.
I don't even like a lot of these stories.
I don't even like a lot of these stories.
In fact, a lot of them are kind of icky,
In fact, a lot of them are kind of icky,
but I rely on them.
but I rely on them.
Relying on all these stories,
Relying on all these stories.
very stressful.
Very stressful.
Under eye, very stressful.
Very stressful.
Makes my life harder.
Makes my life harder.
No space for breath.
No space for breath.
Getting stuck.
Getting stuck.
Under nose, stuck in all these stories.
Stuck in all these stories.
Don't know how to get out.
Don't know how to get out.
It's like glue,
It's like glue.
sticky cobwebs.
Sticky cobwebs.
Can't get it off of me.
Can't get it off of me.
All these old thoughts.
All these old thoughts.
Underlip, all these old stories.
All these old stories.
Half of them, maybe more, aren't even mine.
Half of them, even more, are not mine.
They're part of my lineage.
They're part of my lineage.
They're part of humanity.
They're part of humanity.
They don't have to define me.
They don't have to define me.
They don't have to define my experience.
They don't have to define my experience.
But I very often let them.
But I very often let them.
Under collarbone, not really wanting to keep letting these stories define my life.
Not really wanting these stories to continue to define my life.
Wanting to let go
Wanting to let go
of all these sticky stories.
of all these sticky stories.
Underarm and become
And become
my true self,
my true self.
moment by moment,
Moment by moment.
in the mystery,
In the mystery.
in the unknowing
In the unknowing.
that brings delight.
That brings delight.
Top of head, I'm starting to let go of all these stories of my life.
I'm starting to let go of all these stories of my life.
They don't have to define me.
They don't have to define me.
They don't have to define how I perceive life
They don't have to define how I perceive life
or myself.
or myself.
Letting your arms rest. Just feeling the vibration moving through the body, letting the gaze become internal. Feeling that there's a flow, like a waterfall of energy flowing down the body to the soles of the feet. The lower legs may even feel heavy as this energy is draining off of you. The stories of your life are literally washing off of you. And you allow them. It's not forceful. You just allow them to move. You allow the movement that you've initiated. You bring breath and presence into the upper chest, the ascension heart, and you begin to allow this space to come alive as you breathe with awareness there. And you let this part of your body, this ascension heart, grow a very particular little set of etheric nostrils. And these etheric nostrils, they draw in prana. They draw in the divine breath of life. As you breathe in, they bring in sacred inspiration. And as you breathe out, these little nostrils release all the stories that are not the truth of who you are. And as you draw breath in, those special etheric nostrils bring sacred remembering into the ascension heart. And as you breathe out, those etheric nostrils there release the stories. And you just keep breathing this way. Several more breath cycles. As you breathe through your physical nose, the etheric nose in the ascension heart draws in sacred inspiration, holy truth, divine breath of life. And as you breathe out, those etheric nostrils release the old stories of lineage, of culture, of trauma, of personal experience. And you can feel this area becoming lighter, more refreshed. Maybe even there's a vibrancy there that makes your head lift just a little higher. And we're going to feel that the brain starts to grow many of these etheric nostrils. And we're going to start at the very top, a little bit toward the back of the brain. And on the next breath you receive, this part of the brain begins to draw in prana, divine breath of life. And as that fresh energy comes in, it helps the brain release the stories, and those little etheric nostrils breathe out the stories. Drawing in the divine breath of life. Now towards the very front, almost at the line of your hair, at the very front upper part of the head, brain. Those little etheric nostrils bring divine breath of life into this part of the brain. And as you breathe out, you just let go. Anything that's ready, any old dictates or mandates of perceiving or thinking. And we keep drawing in through those etheric nostrils. When you breathe in with your physical nose, the etheric nostrils draw that divine breath of life right in. and it feels good. You enjoy it. And then you breathe out. And you may feel a little heaviness come into awareness. And those etheric nostrils just begin to breathe out that heaviness. Coming to the part of the brain that's around the level of the left temple, but above the ear. And now breathing, drawing that sacred, divine breath of life into that place. And releasing from there preconception, misperception, limited perception. Drawing in, cleansing, pure, sacred light into this place above the left ear. Breathing out, letting go of the old, the fixed, the story. On that same left side, up a little bit closer to the crown. We could call it sort of the left side of the crown where you might part your hair if you were going to have hair and part it. Letting that part of the brain draw in through its etheric nostrils the divine breath of life. And you might start feeling as more and more of the brain gets enlivened, little tingles here and there. Moving to the right side of the head at the level of the temples above the right ear, maybe even closer to the right temple on this side. Drawing in the divine breath of life, receiving prana, nourishment. Breathing out the stories, the tension, the strain and stress that's part of the cultural human story. Drawing in pure light, pure goodness, pure beauty. And breathing out the heaviness. And feeling now your own brain. Where do you have sensation or awareness? It might be good sensation. It might be a little bit of agitation or tension or pain. But breathing right into your brain, exactly where it's needed right now. Maybe it's holistic. Maybe the whole brain is starting to light up and you have etheric nostrils on the entire surface of the brain. Maybe it's a particular spot. When you let yourself nourish, cleanse, activate the brain with the pure light that you're bringing in. And I invite you to keep with this breath practice and the sensations as we receive our song for this series.
hear my own heart speak. I walked through nights that shook my footing, looking for something steady in me. Life doesn't ask before it tests us. It shifts the ground, it breaks the flow. But even when I lose my balance, there's something in me that still knows how to heal. And even if the road looks unclear, I don't need answers yet, I just need the courage to take the next step. Live without fear, begin again. Let go of what I can't defend. Live without fear, release the past. Trust that this moment won't collapse. Even if it hurts, even if I fall, there's a light rising through it all. Live without fear, begin again. I've learned my scars are not my limits. They only prove that I survived. Every wound can grow new meaning when I start running from what's inside. Not everything breaks to end us. Some things break to show the truth. What no longer fits my spirit, and what my heart must learn to choose and protect. And even when I can't see ahead, I know what I can hold. My peace, my breath, my inner voice, and how I speak to myself. Begin again. Let go of what I can't defend. Live without fear, release the past. Trust that this moment won't collapse. Even if it hurts, even if I fall, there's a light rising through it all. Live without fear, begin again. In the dark there are hidden doors. They don't open through force or control. When I stop fighting the silence, I hear the truth inside my soul. I reinvent without demanding perfection. I start small, I start real. I'm not what broke me, I'm the courage to feel, to breathe and heal. Live without fear, begin again. With open hands, with open chest. Live without fear, step into now. Trust where the ground is forming out. From every shadow, a clearer view. A new direction, breaking through. Live without fear, begin again.
My brain is very tingly and alive. I'm assuming yours are too. We'll end with our closing prayer and our announcements. Make sure you're unmuted, Tita.
The closing prayer's up right now.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. But I can start.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. We are so grateful that you have chosen to spend a bit of your precious life in sacred presence with us in the soul field. If you'd like more information, transformational support, links to our YouTube video collections, to have soul field events to populate on your calendar, or to share soul field with like-minded beings, you can go to soulfield.org. Without your donation and tithing generosity, Soulfield would simply not be possible. Deep bows to those of you who continue to make Soulfield a regular part of your spiritual gift giving. We are thrilled to have many of you joining us in the Eternal Now via recording. Please like and comment on our videos and follow our YouTube channel. Thank you in advance for helping others find us. We have some changes in our normal calendar due to summer travel. The last Soulfield experience of June 28th, will be canceled. So our next Soulfield experience is the second Sunday of July on the 12th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Our next Soulfield meditation will be as scheduled on Wednesday, June 17th at 5:10 p.m. Pacific time. Both events are live via Zoom.
Thank you so much, Tita.
You're welcome.
And now the closing prayer. We are deeply grateful to have experienced miraculous communion with our holy wholeness in the soul field. We wholeheartedly receive the upliftment of one another's communion and blessed soul light. As we close this formal gathering, each in our own way will continue dwelling in the soul field and supporting our collective evolution. With deep gratitude, we thank one another and all our angels, guides, and guardians. Remembering as we minister to ourselves, we uplift one another. We encourage the magic we co-created to ripple out to all our relations for the benefit of all beings. Such a joy and honor to be with you all live and in the eternal now. I'll see you soon for meditation and in a month for Soulfield. Blessings.